Yes, we received one email from Trey Hoyampa, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing your last name improperly, Jackson Township. In June, I asked the board some questions. I would like to revisit those comments. I had briefly discussed the movie Bully. The district responded via Dr. DeLay, who is responsible for much of our curriculum with our bullying efforts. She responded when it's a 10, 11-year-old movie and added that it did receive some harsh criticism over the years. Dr. DeLay went on to say ironically that she personally had never watched it. This comment itself is utterly remarkable, particularly from someone who is responsible for the curriculum on bullying efforts. Dr. DeLay then explained that they have bullying and cyberbullying curriculum in health education and lessons through school counselors. That if there is a bullying issue, there is a Safe to Say program, which is mandated by the state, by the way, where it can be reported. She finished by saying that parents should monitor their students, and if there is an issue, then you are encouraged to reach out to the district administration, building administration, school counselors, or teachers. In my comment, I asked the board to consider putting a group together consisting of district members to address bullying. My questions and concerns were dodged, unaddressed, and dismissed. I commented again last month, only this time the administration board didn't respond at all. Alas, this is now my third attempt to get support for our students in this matter. It is not enough to say that PMSD doesn't have a bullying problem, so whatever we're doing must be working. I urge the district to consider that most bullying goes unnoticed and unchecked. One report found that 54% of students who were bullied didn't report it and to an adult at the school, and only 39% of bullied high schoolers report harassment or bullying. Consider all of the students who go about school anxious and in fear of the next incident and feeling unable to speak about it to anyone, often for fear of retaliation. Further, the perpetrators are behaving badly because they too have unaddressed issues that cause them to act out. So once again, I respectfully ask the board to wholeheartedly work with the parents to create a system that serves as a real solution to bullying, harassment, and assault. It would be prudent to arrange an advisory board that would include parents, administrators, those who work in the district, and students. I realize that this would go beyond what the state mandates for intervention, but I have no doubt that such a group, unique and innovative as it would be, could change the lives of our students, big and small, and every one of them is worth it. Thank you for your consideration and time. It is very much appreciated. I'd like to answer most of the questions or comments on this email, and then if the board would like to add anything,
Please.
Certainly up to you. Ms. Hoyampa, I spoke with Dr. DeLay after receiving your email today. Dr. DeLay has watched the Bully movie, and her opinion of the movie has not changed. I'm not sure why Dr. DeLay would be expected to watch a Netflix movie that was first unrated and then rated R, making it inappropriate for our students to watch or to be considered as part of the school's anti-bullying curriculum. We focus our anti-bullying efforts on research-based programs where there is data to support the effectiveness of the initiatives. While there are many positive reviews of bullying by movie critics and parents who watched it, there are also others who work in the area of suicide prevention who expressed real concerns with the movie, as Dr. DeLay mentioned. For an example, a review by Slate magazine stated the following: "What do you say about a documentary that could do some good and also a lot of harm? That's how I feel about Bully, the new documentary by Lee Hirsch that has already received a lot of attention because the MPAA gave it an unwarranted R rating on account of a few curse words. The movie is now being released unrated, and at least one major exhibitor has said it will admit children under 17 if they bring a note from their parents. I was prepared to love this movie for offering an in-depth take on a difficult problem that I've been covering for a few years. And I did love parts of it, the parts about children who face trouble from their peers, but also show inspiring resilience. But the movie's depiction of a boy who committed suicide is utterly one-sided, factually questionable, and could pose a real risk to some vulnerable young viewers. I personally was present at the meeting where Dr. DeLay responded to your questions. Since you still have questions and concern, I think maybe we should meet with you and discuss the issue of bullying. Such a meeting would present a good opportunity for us to exchange ideas, because I'm not sure you're aware of many of the initiatives PMSD has in place to address bullying, just as we are not aware of what instances of bullying you feel are not being addressed appropriately by our schools or the district. Before we create a committee, we may want to talk about what measures we already have in place, how reports of bullying are addressed, when reported, etc. We are aware of the statistics you presented. We do track national and state statistics on a number of issues of concern. We also track the bullying data provided directly by our students in the anonymous Pennsylvania Youth Survey called the PACE Survey. Dr. DeLay and her team carefully analyzed the results of that survey of our students and other data gathered here to add to the supports, interventions, and curriculum offered for our students. In fact, Dr. DeLay works with the Weller Center after we receive the results of those surveys to make sure that we can, if we need to bring in other supports, that we can do so. Just as it's not good enough for someone to say Pocono Mountain School District doesn't have a bullying problem, so what we are doing must be working, which, by the way, I've never ever recall an official with the district making that specific statement in response to a concern about bullying. It also isn't fair to assume that everything PMSD is doing is not part of a real solution to try to prevent bullying, harassment, and assault. I will be reaching out to you by email to try to arrange the meeting I suggested. I just really think we're at the point we keep going back and forth on the bullying issue. And I think it's time that we meet face to face and sort this out. Thank you.
Mrs. Pizek, I agree 100%. I think you should have that meeting. I would like to be invited to that meeting about bullying with, not sure how to pronounce her last name, but yeah, I'd like to be at that meeting about bullying.
I would.
So would I.
I would as well. I think the whole board should be involved with that. And I don't see anything wrong with sitting down and talking to a parent about that.
And that's certainly the board's prerogative. Would it be possible for Dr. DeLay and I to meet with the individuals first, or do you want the board involved in every meeting? Because I thought we could have a nice discussion and see if we can clear up some of, what we're feeling, what they're feeling, but it's certainly up to the board on how you want to proceed on this issue.
Before we answer that question, I seen the movie, and I agree with you. It's not for our kids. Here's what I learned, and I was talking to some friends of mine about this. You see the movie Scarface? You see how the kids react to that? But if you show that movie to the kids here in this school district, eventually they're going to try and reenact that as well. So I don't think we should show that. That's first and foremost.
Well, I don't think it's really just about a movie. I think there's a lot of parents that are concerned. And I don't have the definition of bully in front of me, but it's not only about continuous bullying with students, it's also about just harassment. And a few parents have reached out to me, and I think it is a good idea that we discuss this with the parents, because a few of them have reached out to me and said, when their child's getting picked on or harassed, it's not noticed, but then when their child reacts, that's when it gets noticed. And whether we have a lot of it or we don't, I think is irrelevant, but I think it's worth sitting with the parents to discuss it, and then, bringing the board involved to meet with them as well. I don't see any harm with that.
I just want to be clear, Mrs. Pizek, are you saying that Dr. DeLay and some of us can meet with the parents first, and then if we have a second meeting or additional meetings, we'll bring the board into those meetings?
What are your
Or do
thoughts,
you want
Mr.
to be-
Johnson, Mr. Byrd?
Or do you want to be involved from the start?
I want to be involved. I have no problem with you guys having a conversation with them prior. However, we still want to meet with them as well.
My feeling's still the same. I'd like to be at the initial meeting.
Okay.
So, and I have to agree with Mr. Johnson, and I think we as a board should be involved in meeting with the parents and yourself and Dr. DeLay, because it shows that we care, and it shows that we're listening and that we're working together as a team. Whether we have 3 problems or 300 or none, I don't see any harm with all of us meeting at the initial meeting, whoever wants to join.
Okay. I'll send the board an email with the date for the meeting and coordinate with
And
you.
we'll make ourselves available to you.
Thank you.
Is that the only email? Okay. Anyone in the audience? Comments?
I'm Trey Hoyampa, I'm in Jackson Township, and I'm the one that wrote that email. I'm not concerned about the movie Bully. First, I'd like to say it's more about trying to get the parents, the board, the administration, teachers, the community together to create a group to discuss and problem solve bullying, which is exactly what all of you just agreed to. But it took 3 times to get an answer, which is just beyond me. I didn't write that. What I wanted was for the school to collaborate with parents to create an environment that will allow students to feel safe at school. Coming together to discuss bullying, how to prevent it, how to deal with it, and how to grow and become a healthier environment. That's all I wanted. But it took 3 emails and a lot of headbutting for me to get you guys to say okay. And it wasn't even you guys saying okay to my email. So I'm just going to say this one part, and I'll leave you with my other, because I'm going to run out of time. I wanted to take a moment to address something that's been bothering many of us. It seems as though anytime someone offers suggestions, comments, or opinions in these meetings, the board and administration take a defense stance in response. This is not only unhelpful, but makes me and others feel like we're not a partnership, that somehow the district knows better than the community and doesn't care to hear our voice. People don't show up to this meeting because they don't think it's worth their time, because nothing will change, and you guys don't listen to all of us. They don't respond the way that a partnership should. You're not responding like a partner. You're responding like you have to somehow defend yourselves. My email about the bully movie is a good example of this behavior. The time I wrote, the response was disturbingly defensive. The second time I wrote about bully, the board and admin didn't respond at all. Now, this is the only one example, but practically every time I have addressed the board and administration, I was confronted with a brick wall rather than a partnership. This is no help for anyone, and it's a disservice to our community. It is my hope that this is all past us and we can move forward with the best intentions. Ironically, October is National Bully Prevention Awareness Month. And all I really wanted to say was addressing mental health in our district will, by its nature, also be addressing bullying. It will affect the lives of the one being bullied, the one bullying, those who assist, and those who stand by. We have the power to stop the cycle before it starts, to strengthen our community, and to empower the next generation. It is with the utmost respect that I ask you to not merely address the bullying that has occurred at Pocono Mountain, but also address the very real need for mental health resources within our school walls. I, again, along with others, offer to partner and participate in real action. Yes, it's more work. Yes, it's innovative. It's going beyond the mandates and breaking new ground. We can be an example for others. And most importantly, our kids deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. And we look forward to sitting with you and the other parents on that.